Hi there, welcome back to the VMO YouTube channel. This is Jansen from VMO. You may remember last week I showed you how to make a rig with a live bait slider. Well, part of the concept of sliding is obviously getting hold of the live bait to start with. So how do you catch a live bait? Well, I mentioned a scratching rig. We've had a couple of emails off people asking, what is a scratching rig? What's it for? How do you make it? So that's a good question. What is a scratching rig? A scratching rig is generally a rig regarded as something that's aimed towards smaller species of fish, scratching out what is there in front of you, rather than whacking on a great big piece of fish on big hooks, chucking it out and hoping for the best. We're going to target smaller species, the fish which are more likely to be there when conditions are tough this time of year. So here is my scratching rig, size 2, Varivas Aberdeen hooks, all 3 of the hooks above the lead. This is my own preference. I just feel that for multi-purpose scratching for, say, flounders, pout, eels, rockling, those smaller species of fish anyway, I don't see any benefit in having a hook below the lead. Sometimes it can make a difference, but most of the time, having all 3 of your hook snoods above the lead is the way to go. Plus the fact if you're fishing over rough ground, you're not going to get snagged up so easily if all 3 of the hooks are above the lead. Right, and so before we get into making this rig, let's make sure we've got all of the components to hand that we're going to need. So first up, 80-pound rig body, clear, done. Amnesia snood line, 20-pound clear. Cedra X3 crane swivel, size 4. Size 2 Varivas Aberdeen hook, ×3. Look how sharp that is, fantastic hooks. Gemini super strength link clip for your lead to go on. Cedra swivel crimps. These are going to make life so much easier, and I'll show you how in just a sec. And then obviously some basic tools, round nose pliers, knot pulling tool, tape measure, and some snips. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing I've done is cut off 1 arm span of the 80-pound monofilament, and I'm just going to tie on this super strength clip to the monofilament. And this is how I'd start with all of the rigs that I make, is to tie a link onto the bottom. I can't think of an actual exception to that. Okay, so always start off with the link tied directly to the body of the rig, like that. So that's that one done. Snip that one off. Okay, just like that. Then we're going to find the other end of the rig. And it's time to start threading on these Cedra swivel crimps. Really, really simple to do this. And like I say, in the past, that was a case of putting on a crimp, a bead, a swivel, another bead, another crimp. This is one component. You slide it on and you're done. So effective. So there's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. Now, what you can do, just to make that a little bit faster, what I should probably have done to start with, if you cut that line at a bit of an angle, it just forms a point, makes it a bit easier to slide your components on. So we've got those crimps on there, we've got the lead link on the end. Next thing we need is a swivel. So size 4 Cedra crane swivel onto the opposite end of the body. And I'm just knotting this on with a grinner knot, or a uni knot as it's often called nowadays. Knot puller in, bring it down together. Perfect. Trim off that tag end. And there's that one done. So now we have what I refer to as the body of the rig. So there's those 3 swivels there on the crimps, which are going to form the droppers, and working our way down to the lead link. Right, let's get the snoots sorted out. So this is where we're going to need our tape measure. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to place that down there a second. Find the end of this amnesia. And I'm going to attach that to the crimp swivel. And I'm just going to use a half blood knot for this, okay? There's no need to overcomplicate matters. So, there we go. Snug that down, that's perfect. Trim that off. Like that. Now, because this is a multi-purpose scratching rig, it's an all-rounder, let's say. I like to make the snoods at 12 inches. So all of the snoods are going to be 12 inches. Now, I haven't done any crimping yet. The swivel crimp is still sliding up and down on the line. So there's the 20-pound line I've just tied on. I'm just going to mark that out at 12 inches, or 1 foot. Snip that off there. So I won't need the tape measure again now. And what I'm going to do is tie on these next two snood lines. I've got a little trick to show you just to make it a little bit easier in a second. There we go. Trim that down. Okay, so what I like to do, we've already tied one snood line, so there's no point in measuring out a second one on the tape measure. All I do is bring them alongside each other, extend them out like that. And I'm just going to trim in line with the existing snood. Really, really simple. So guess what I'm going to do with the third swivel? Yeah, exactly the same thing. So snood line onto the third crimp swivel. It's a lot easier when you haven't got a camera tripod in your way, I'll tell you that. There we go. So back through the hole. Put it up tight. Lovely. Trim that one down. Hold it alongside an existing snood. Pull them along like that. Trim it down. And that's the snood lines done. So next to add the hooks. So here goes the size 2 Varivas Aberdeen hooks. And we're going to use a grinner knot for these. The reason being, if you use a half blood knot, you could end up with a little tag on the knot itself, which could damage worms. There we go. So there's one. We'll move on to our other snood lines. Like that. Perfect. Trim it down. Then on to our final snood line. Size 2 hook, grinner knot. You know the drill by now. Lovely. Snip that one off. Obviously, depending on your knot and your tags coming off of your knots, your snood lines may not be exactly the same, but they're going to be near as, damn it, so it's not a problem. Okay, so now all we need to do is position these snoods on the trace. What I don't want to do is have that bottom hook tangled up in the rig link or even the lead. So I'm going to crimp it just far enough away so that's not going to happen. Now I'm not going to go squeezing the hell out of this crimp, right? So round nose pliers, just like that, just a little touch, and the same over here, just a little nip on them, and that locks it in place nicely. So you'll see if I pull these two down now, you'll see they're not going to tangle. Okay, so the lead's going to be on there, the hook is just above. So next thing is obviously to bring the middle hook of the trace down. And again, we don't want this one to tangle with the bottom snood. So if I just line that up there, okay, so it's literally just above that bottom snood. Round nose pliers again, just a little nip, and the same again. And that's that one locked in place. And we've got one more hook left to do. So I'm going to bring that down, holding onto the hook against the crimp swivel, pulling that top crimp swivel up the line, pinning it in place with my finger and thumb, nip, nip. And that is our rig complete. Now with the top snood that I've just put on, you'll also notice, if I bring it up the snood line towards the swivel, it's miles away from the swivel. So when you're casting this rig out, it's not going to tangle, okay? All of the snoods are spread out in such a way that they can't tangle with the one directly below or directly above. So that is our scratching rig. All that remains now is to coil the rig up neatly and place it into a little poly grip bag. And I know some people nowadays prefer rig winders, but I'm old school. I don't think there's anything wrong at all with a poly grip bag. And all I've done is just wrap those around my fingers like that. I'm not going to mess around putting ties on there or anything at all like that. I've literally got some poly grip bags and still holding the rig. I can open the pack, slip the rig in, and that's how I build a scratching rig.